All right, we are off and running here on Tuesday, May 7th. Welcome back to the Plus. It's the Damon Bruce Show, brought to you by Ike Sandwiches. It's awesome to have you here today. Sorry about the tiny bit of a late start there. I sat down and I had camera issues. I had audio issues. I had issues. We had freaking issues here this morning, but hopefully we've solved them all. Hopefully I'm sort of in focus. Not that this host really needs to be in focus for the show to be enjoyed. You can kind of just close your eyes and listen. There's not a lot happening here. But it is great to have you back here, and thank you so much for being here. You know, I love sports, not just the teams that I cover, not just the athletes that I get to know by covering them so closely through so many years, but, you know, I love these leagues, and I love moments and times. I love when a player who, you know, goes way out of their way to change what you think about them, their hierarchy in the league, their own team's hierarchy now in the league because of their efforts. Like, this is why I'm a sports fan. This is what I sign up for time after time again. Show me a new guy, watch him grow. What can he become? That's what I love about sports. And we are watching right now in the NBA two very interesting teams. I mean, there's more than just two interesting teams, but just last night, a very interesting Knicks team, which, look, when that team is rocking and the Garden is hosting a game, there is something special that is happening at Madison Square Garden. We are watching very good players ride superstar-level performances to redefining their own place in the NBA. And we are looking now, I think, at a Minnesota Timberwolves team that just went into Denver, did what a lot of people labeled as unthinkable, and have so taken control of that series before they've even played a home game that Minnesota Timberwolves NBA champions, those four words feel like they're closer to being a reality than they ever have been. The Nuggets still got that championship DNA. They're not done, but they're 48 minutes away from being done, because if they go down 0-3, it's curtains. And also, I'm just saying that there was a level of we're playing hard and you ain't that was involved in that game last night that has me officially concerned about the Denver Nuggets' status as reigning NBA champions. Jokic and his energy and his performance and his follow me, I know the way nature really wasn't to be seen. And Jamal Murray is out there losing his cool. And the coach is losing his cool. And you could feel a meltdown of Denver happening while the Timberwolves were just galvanizing themselves as a team not to be overlooked. Before we even get, though, to Minnesota, we'll start with the early game, right? Because the Knicks have a legitimate player blooming into superstar status right in front of us. And this isn't Jalen Brunson is being labeled a superstar because the Knicks are dying to pretend that they have one. We're watching something. And young Jalen Brunson, who I got to be honest with you, when, you know, saw him with Dallas, was impressed by him with Dallas, but thought, you know, here come the Knicks to overcast him as the star of a movie with a weak script, and it's not going to go very well. Well, I'm wrong. Jalen Brunson is frickin' box office. That kid is a player. Wow. And he does. He has that old man game. He moves at his own pace. He's a lot like Luka in that regard, right? He's not out there being sped up by anybody. He's just doing his own thing, looking, hunting, jabbing, thinking, and then goes. Here's the list of players who have scored 40 points in 4 straight playoff games in NBA history. Jerry West, Michael Jordan, Bernard King, Jalen Brunson. There's your list. There is your list. Jalen Brunson is on a list with some all-timers right there. Having gone for 40 in 4 straight playoff games is officially one of the biggest. That guy ain't joking around at this point in his career. You're going to see. Now, the Knicks are out there. They're playing like 6 dudes, 7 guys. They're playing everybody. I don't think Josh Hart has left the court yet in this series. What is he, a 48-minute man every single time you look up? Maybe don't ask Josh Hart to come over during the out of timeout interview session. The guy needs a chance to sit down, for goodness sakes. Can we leave poor Josh Hart alone? But the Knicks got something cooking. And Madison Square Garden, when it's cooking, it's a special place. There's no denying it. There really isn't. And Jalen Brunson is elevating his game to such a rare special place that we have to officially salute it and acknowledge it and say we're paying attention. Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards has been showing us all year that he is ready for a larger starring role when we talk about NBA superstars. Really not in the town to get that attention, but he has had some games and some highlights and some swagger about him, which commands attention no matter where you are. Again, market size has never meant less to being a superstar. And Anthony Edwards, who has been this guy, this dog, this two-way player who is throwing defensive efforts that are special at whoever he's guarding. Anthony Edwards is feeding off this attention, is feeding off this moment in time. His entire team is now feeding off of his shot-making ability and defensive prowess. And I hope you watched that game in Denver last night. A lot of people watch that game and sort of check out because it feels like it's over before it really begins. I couldn't take my eyes off of it. That's the level of defense that the Minnesota Timberwolves played without Rudy Gobert, who was not in the game to attend the birth of a child, his own child. Rudy Gobert wasn't even out there, and that's some of the most ain't joking around, locking it down, you on your home court, not going anywhere, maniacal, evil laughter level defense that I've seen in the NBA in years. Throughout the entire Warriors run, they played really good defense and had just an incredible offense that no one could stop. The Minnesota Timberwolves played defense like the 1985 Chicago Bears played defense on Monday night. It's not like the Minnesota Timberwolves got over on the Denver Nuggets because they came out and they just hit a ton of threes and the other team couldn't keep up. No, this was an old-fashioned playground three-point line, not even involved. We're bigger, we're stronger, we're playing harder, and we're going to show you what defense is all about, ass-kickings you will see in your entire basketball life. That's why I'm convinced the Minnesota Timberwolves could be NBA champions. You go out and you play like that, and you play like that in Denver, we are taking the governor off of whatever your expectations were and officially inviting you into the sky's the limit conversation. That's who the Minnesota Timberwolves were on Monday night. Wow. I mean, wow. Between the closeout game of the first round and game one of the Western Conference semifinals, Anthony Edwards joined Kobe Bryant as the only players with consecutive 40-point games at age 22 or younger in NBA postseason history. He follows that up with a 27-point outburst in game two, with a defensive effort all over the court that had Jamal Murray throwing heating packs on the court, and Jamal Murray might now get suspended for game three. Probably not, but he could be. Like, if the NBA came down and said, yeah, he threw a foreign object on the court, that's a game. How could you argue with that? The guy threw a heating pack on the court that a player could have slipped on, could have fallen. It happened. You don't do that when things are going well, by the way. You don't. So it was a disaster. A disaster. The Nuggets were held to just 80 points in a loss for the first time since 2018. And you can make the argument that, the Nikola Jokic era, as he's been involved in these MVP discussions, won MVPs, and has seen his team rise to NBA champion. In this Joker MVP era, That is without a doubt the worst game the Denver Nuggets have played. I mean, far and away, given the circumstances, given though you cannot go down 0-2 on your home court in the Western Conference semifinals as you're defending an NBA title, like with all that on the line, that was awful. That was truly awful. Jamal Murray finished game 2 with 8 points on 3 of 18 shooting. It's the worst shooting performance of Murray's entire career in a game where he's tried at least 15 shots. And again, you might be looking at a suspension in game 3. That would be a big deal. At the same time, in game 2, he shot 16%. So, you can overcome that. Sip of the day right there. That's one thing we can count on. That was delicious. Perfect sip of coffee. It's what we're looking for. Awesome NBA action last night. It might not have held the casual fan. That's a game a lot of people tune away from. I couldn't take my eyes off it. The Denver Nuggets came out and dropped 1985 Chicago Bears level defense in an NBA game. It was stunning. I mean, Nolan Richardson, Arkansas Razorbacks slapping the court, 40 minutes of hell level. We're almost pressing you defense. It was incredible. It just shows you how sexy defense really is and how some of these playoff games look like another sport compared to NBA regular season. And that's a problem that the NBA's regular season has. I know what effort looks like when I see it. I know what not trying hard enough looks like when I see it. Again, this is why Andrew Wiggins is my least favorite Golden State Warrior ever. He really is. Because I know what effort and trying hard and breaking your back to win tonight looks like, and you don't see it during the regular season, and you saw it last night. And it's intoxicating when you see it. Just awesome. We got 2 game 1s on tap tonight. I invite both of them to live up to the reputation of last night's games. Both these games are on TNT. The first starting at 4 o'clock. We got Cavaliers at Boston. Again, Boston Celtics. It feels like this is supposed to be your year. I don't know if it will be if you run into this Minnesota Timberwolves team in the NBA Finals. I made that prediction yesterday that the winner of Game 2 at Ball Arena probably goes on to represent the Western Conference in the NBA Finals. With all due respect to Dallas and Oklahoma City, I think the Minnesota Timberwolves laid the claim to top team to beat coming out of the West with that defensive effort. Cavs, Boston tonight. Mavs at Thunder tonight. A couple of game 1s. Give it to me. Like Red Jet was saying the other day, there is something to be said about not having a dog in the fight. You just get to watch the fight, and it's fun. It really is. It takes that personal stress out of it, and then you can just be a fan of the sport, a fan of the league, a fan of this guy, that play, this moment, that quarter. Good basketball last night. Really good NBA playoff basketball. Just golf clapping, Anthony Edwards and Jalen Brunson. Bravo, fellas. Bravo. I mean, even people who believed you had it in you didn't quite believe you got this in you. Wow. We're watching 2 guys redefining who they are in this league in real time, right in front of our eyes. And if you don't like that, you don't like Grant Napier's catchphrase. A lot better to watch than the San Francisco Giants going 0 for Philadelphia. We'll get to that in a second. But let me tell you about my good friend Ike. I'm telling you, you want something that always performs at a very high level? Get yourself to Ike's. Get yourself a sandwich. Let me tell you about the Paul Rubens. It's like a great pastrami sandwich. Like all Reubens, you got pastrami in there. You got some corned beef. You got the slaw. You got a little Thousand Island on that. I like a little Godfather sauce, never afraid. I put red onions and pickles on every sandwich I get from Ike's. I'm a red onions and pickle guy on my sandwich. Get yourself a Paul Rubens. You'll be very happy that you did. The next time you order for yourself at Ike's, again, think of ordering for more than yourself at Ike's. Look at that rewards program. Download that Ike's Rewards app. You'd be bonkers if this is a restaurant that you go to frequently and you're not a member of the Ike's Rewards app. You're not helping yourself. Help yourself. Download the membership. Start earning your way towards free sandwiches. And again, if you are ordering catering at work, look at Ike's. You will make your entire office sing songs about you. If you make that decision, everyone's going to be really, really happy. And then you should tell everyone in the office, hey, when we're done working, let's hop on Muni. Let's take, Muni right to frickin' the Dubliner on West Portal, baby. I love the Dubliner on West Portal. They love this show. They love you. They want you to come on in. They want you to have a drink. They want you to watch a game. They want you to pick up a couple innings. They want you to enjoy yourself in a great bar, great local bar, dive bar, neighborhood bar, sports bar. It's the kind of bar you want to be in when you're thinking about going to a bar. And let me tell you, this isn't just an endorsement for the Dubliner. This is for the entire industry right here. Because I read today, I was told about it this week, but I read today, it finally came out in a broke-ass Stewart column, that another great San Francisco bar that I spent many formative nights in when I was a young man in San Francisco, Hobson's Choice on Haight Street, is closing. And the reason why it's closing is because the foot traffic hasn't returned to Haight Street, which is a bigger issue entirely that all of San Francisco is facing. But again, I cannot fix all of San Francisco by snapping my fingers or giving you a little advice to follow. But I can do this for you and maybe your favorite establishment, because we all have our favorite establishments, right? And we begin to sort of take them for granted. Don't take your favorite establishment for granted any longer. The restaurant that you think will always be open and will never close, the bar that will always be open and will never close, might, if you don't go in there and patronize them. Your favorite bar, your favorite restaurant, I want you this week to go in there and spend some money. Do it. The bar and restaurant industry is part of San Francisco's lifeblood. It is part of this city's culture. It is part of the tapestry of why we love this town. And I can't be comfortable with an awesome bar like Hobson's Choice closing because, there just ain't enough people going to the bars anymore. I mean, I know that we have Generation TikTok doesn't know how to leave their house and actually buy a girl a drink. Like Generation, you're all fucking virgins. Well, that's kind of a oxymoron, right? It's hard to be a fucking virgin. You're just virgins. Generation can't get none. Doesn't know how to go out and buy itself a drink, a girl a drink, meet anyone up. What do you want to do in a bar? Should we all get together and go to a bar tonight? Nah, let's frickin' sit around in a group me and text each other. You pussies. Go out and get a cocktail. There's a reason why I just can't go out and get cocktails whenever I want. And the reasons are called Jack, Ozzy, and my marriage. But when I was in my 20s, I was in Hobson's Choice once a week. Love that place. Chris Dickerson, the guy who owns it, is a friend of mine. I got to go in there and give him a big hug. It sucks that news came about. Really does. That bothers me. What else we got going on here? Oh, yeah. Thank you, Dubliner. West Portal. Thank you, Ike's. Your sandwiches are just delicious. Go get yourself a sandwich in a bar in the places that you love. Keep them open with your business. Some friendly advice from Uncle Damon. Dale says, you're extremely wrong on this, Damon. Shit costs too much. Look, I'm not saying you got to go in and get the surf and turf. Get a cocktail. You know, Dale, come on. You're a big boy. You're not in the I can't afford this cocktail phase of your career, right? Go get a beer. Go get an appetizer. Come on. You know, small businesses are out there hurting. It's up to us to take our small little bits of money and spend it with them. And use cash. Please use cash. My man Smiley Dan loves a good cocktail and a good meal out there. He's like, yes, this is a worthy message. Thank you very, very much. Joji, konnichiwa in Japan. Joji, are they back in Japan? People still going out in Japan for drinks and bowls of noodles and sushi and shit like that? I'm guessing so. San Francisco, here's the thing. This city needs to get over its woe is me bullshit. Okay? It's time to put the big boy pants on, go out, get a cocktail, go to lunch, go to dinner, and change this story about all the doom loop and all this stuff. Get the fuck out of here. This city's still crawling with people and money. Leave your house. Go do something. This is why I absolutely love this chat. Because these are people who, are wanting to go out and do something. Damon, when's the next Plucemania? When's the next time you're going to be at the Dubliner? When's the next time we can get out and meet together? Because we are actually people who get to know each other, and that's fun. That's the fun in life. That's what you want to do. Hang out with, people in places that serve, good food and cocktails. I absolutely I'm talking about love restaurant people. These are my people. So get out and support people. Native Dancer saying San Francisco is the best place to lose your virginity. I've always said this. San Francisco is one of the greatest places in the world to be just an average-looking guy. All the really, really, really square jaw, massively handsome dudes that you're competing for women with in other cities and other states, most of those dudes out here are gay. They're not even fishing in your pond. So it takes all the 10s and the 9s just right out of the equation. That makes a lot of room for 8s and 7s. I'm a 7. I know what I am. I'm a 7. I'm not horrific to look at. I'm no cup of tea either. An average-looking dude in San Francisco used to clean up. Trust me. All you needed was a little personality, a little bit of character, and don't be another dude trying to impress a girl with yeah, this is my trip to Machu Picchu. You fucking characterless douchebag. Hey, look, this is me petting a Bengal tiger. I do this all the time. No, you don't, you Twitter swiping douche. Be a real person. Be a real person. You'll do well. You'll do well in this town. Got a whole bunch of frickin' Peter Pans running around. Real men stand out like sore thumbs in this town. It's one of the things that Jillian liked most about me. She's like, oh my God, here's someone who's actually, a man, not some little boy still trying to hold on to his 20s, dear life, fearing that they'll lose their own identity without their, did you see my trip to Machu Picchu? Douchebags. I could be a 7 again if I could stay out of the damn fridge for more than 2 hours. Skills report, again, I appreciate the honesty. Appreciate the honesty. Hey, look at Dr. Paul Hughes is in here. I like a good horse racing feed and wagering on my iPhone. Well, I know you do. I know you do, because you're our beloved degenerate gambler. I saw Dr. Paul says Florida is doing well. Yeah, look, Florida has bounced back in a way that San Francisco has not bounced back. And part and parcel is you can you can live in a really nice house in Florida and go out for a fraction of the cost that it costs here in the Bay Area. Florida is a cheaper state, but you get less quality and cheaper people, cheaper products everywhere you go for it. You know, Florida has its merits. It sure does. But its demerits are also incredibly significant, as are San Francisco's. But again, just go out and support the bar that you like, the restaurant you like. They need your business. I don't think that is a statement to even be received in the wrong way. Yeah, you're right about this. Where is Chef A? Chicago's bounced back, at least around the Miracle Mile. I was in Chicago last summer. What pandemic? Like, they just got over it. Maybe it's just San Francisco's very worrying about everything's sissified nature. But, yeah, it's time to quit worrying about shit that's invisible and go on out and keep bars that you like open. There you go. Dr. Paul saying, I like O'Neill's Pub in San Mateo. I tip those bartenders. Tip well. Tip well. Thank you. By the way, Dr. Paul Hughes, great guy. My knee is feeling great. He helped me out with my foot, which is definitely improved. Good stuff. Dr. Paul, getting it done. Thank you, Doc. I hope you hit that trifecta at Aqueduct today. I really do. All right. Moving right along. The Giants were 0 for Philadelphia. I mean, that date with Broomhilda was booked. It's one thing to play poorly. It's another thing to look bad over 36 innings of baseball, yet it is entirely another thing to look as clinically helpless as the San Francisco Giants looked, not just in Philadelphia against the hottest team in all of baseball. They looked awful at Fenway. This has been a terrible road trip. They tied their season high with 13 strikeouts in the getaway game in Philadelphia. Zach Wheeler struck out 11 in 7 innings. Bryce Harper hit a 3-run home run. Kyle Schwarber, he added a solo poke. And guess what you got right there? You got star power, star power, star power. Giants don't have an awful lot of star power. They really don't. Harper took rookie Mason Black deep, and Mason Black, got no support from the offense hitting for him, lineup hitting behind him, and the wheels kind of came off after what had been a decent start. 24-year-old, 7th best prospect in all of baseball, according to MLB.com, made his debut. 1-2-3 first inning, struck out Real Muto and Harper. And then, it's tough to go through that lineup twice, right? It's tough to get through it through a third time. And Black ended up giving up 8 hits, 5 runs, 3 walks. He struck out 4 in 4 1/3. There's no doubt that kid's got some talent. But so does Bryce Harper. I also thought that, Bob Melvin should have had his bullpen up and ready to go during that Harper at bat, and not let the guy out there to just bleed away a couple of more runs, too. But, oh well. What are you going to do? Giants got a lot of problems. Bob Melvin really isn't on top of their list of problems right now. It's the guys that Bob Melvin has to keep on putting in that lineup. That's the problem. So the Giants got a little Rocky Mountain air and a pitcher who was 0-5 with an ERA close to 6, Dakota Hudson, going at Coors Field tonight. And if the Giants offense doesn't wake up and do something or even think about putting a crooked number up at Coors Field, you can basically just rubber stamp the rest of the season and put it right in the garbage. I mean, God. You got Kyle Harrison and a team that's desperate to come out and play a good baseball game in Colorado, taking on a Rockies team that's 8-26. If you can't look good in Colorado against an 8-26 Rockies team, when can I expect you to look good? When is that going to happen? Wheeler will haunt them as long as he's around. Yeah. Used to be, could have been, was San Francisco Giant, but you had to have who? Carlos Beltran? Isn't that who he got dealt for? Let's see. Also, in the National League, I can't help but notice Shohei Ohtani has got this gambling story so far in his rearview mirror. I don't think we're going to bring it up at any point in time now because the laser show has begun. Shohei Ohtani has hit 4 home runs in his last 3 days, which now gives him the major league lead in home runs. He's also first in average, first in hits, first in extra base hits, first in home runs, and now he's first in on-base plus slugging as well. The Giants want you to know they did a hell of a job on Shohei. Couldn't have done better. Could not have done a better job. They did great. The presentation could not have gone better. Oh, my God, that guy's going to be a problem for a decade in that Dodgers lineup. Shohei Ohtani, the greatest baseball player of all time, is starting to remind everyone how good he is. Oh, better than everyone that ever played. All of them. Of all time. You can debate that amongst yourselves if you like. I'm not here to debate about it. Again, but Damon, I think Willie Mays was the greatest of all time. What was his ERA? I guess we're done here. I saw this. A story about A's closer Mason Miller. And he's phenomenal. You want to talk about arm talent? There's probably nobody in baseball who can boast the level of arm talent of Mason Miller. Lots of lesser pitchers who are also closers now have these elaborate WrestleMania-style entrances. I mean, it's overkill. I saw what they're doing in Minnesota. They light the entire stadium on fire. They get everybody to get their iPhones out and put their spotlights on. And look, I mean, I concede this is not for me. They're not doing this for me. Old man shaking his fists at clouds, just wants a baseball game. I don't need a fucking light show. I don't need some big dramatic entrance. Again, just hearing a gong when Trevor Hoffman was going to come in was enough of a dramatic entrance. Enter Sandman in the Bronx. Smoke on the water is all Rob Nen needed to come on out and get it done. But now, again, you got to have DJ Umami or whatever and spotlights, and Camilo Duvall's got this. I don't think it's compared to other closer entrances, it's still not good. I mean, he's got his own, but his song sucks compared to these other closers. And, you know, look, I concede it's not for me. There are some fans who love these entrances. And I can actually see how the player who's coming in for the entrance gets pumped up. Like I always said, if I were a major league closer, I would just want Shut 'Em Down by Public Enemy played, and I would come on in and try to shut the game down. Well, Mason Miller, who really is, I mean, you're not going to find a better closer in baseball than him. Fewer opportunities because, you know, fewer and lesser is the only way the A's go about doing business, unless you're talking about home runs or how good they'd be this year. The A's are really a big surprise. Asked about an elaborate entrance for him, Mason Miller told Foul Territory TV, that he was told he'd be getting no such treatment at home games because the lights might not come back on at the Coliseum if they were to shut them off. That's the most honest thing you will hear from anyone in Oakland all year. Yeah, we talked about maybe doing an elaborate entrance, but the team is afraid that if we turn the lights off, they might not come back on at the Coliseum. Mwah. It's about as John Fisher as it gets. You got day baseball in Oakland today. The A's have lost 2 in a row, but again, they're actually better than anybody expected them or John Fisher ever wanted them to be. Ross Stripling, let's get your shit together, dude. You're 1-5. Like, how much of a slow start to the year are you looking for? You've officially had it. Get your stuff together here, Ross Stripling. Try to be 2-5 by the time the sun goes down tonight. I frickin' dare you. Couple of things to wrap up here. A guy named Lev Akabas, who writes for Sportico, was just doing a little breakdown of sports attendance in the United States, and he came up with this. There are 553 sports teams in the United States with leagues averaging more fans per home game than the Oakland A's right now. On the list of you're drawing better than the Oakland A's are 3 indoor football league franchises, 2 college wrestling teams, and a professional women's volleyball team. I mean, that is how far and away the A's have worked to drive their fans away. Oakland, yes, it's got its own problems. We get that. Oakland politicians getting this right or wrong, I'm sure you can point to just as big a pile of you got it wrong as you got right, but it all goes back to the billionaire who owns the team, and the billionaire who owns this team only wants to see it ruined. I saw another video that was shared to me on Twitter by angry A's fans, Last Dive Bar guys. By the way, I'm wearing a Last Dive Bar shirt today. The Last Dive Bar guys were basically saying there was a conversation recorded in some convention center in Las Vegas about how John Fisher really never had an honest, real, good faith negotiation with Oakland. His efforts to get to Las Vegas predate an awful lot of the things that the A's will point at and say, hey, we were trying to make it work. The truth is, the closer Howard Terminal came to being a reality, the faster John Fisher accelerated the I got to move to Vegas timeline. He never wanted Oakland. Never. 3 indoor football league franchises, 2 college wrestling teams, and a professional women's volleyball team draw more fans than the A's. Oh my God, it just breaks my heart. It breaks my heart. So, on that note, I want to share with you something that I haven't told you about. And I don't have the date or location to confirm with you, although I will be making a phone call when this show ends to try to pin these things down, because you're getting a slice of Double Damon. This summer, Plucemania 4, Damon's a Poppin', will be happening somewhere in the East Bay. On the night of the next reverse boycott, Damon Amandalora, who I've had here on the Plus, who has a national radio show on SiriusXM, who's been a national radio host for years. Damon Amandalora is coming to Oakland to support the Last Dive Bar guys, and Damon and I will be doing a show together somewhere that you'll be able to come to. We will have some details for you, hopefully by the beginning of next week, as to what this is, where it is, when it starts, and how we can then get over to the reverse boycott game, which feels like will officially be, I've already been to like 9. This is my last time ever at the Coliseum games between the Raiders and the A's. I've gone to a lot of this. Is my last time ever in here. We got another one coming. The next reverse boycott game will officially be the last time I go to an A's game at the Coliseum. And we'll be going with Damon Amendola and hopefully a whole bunch of people who go in there to chant "fuck John Fisher" all night long. What good does it do you anymore? I don't know. Actually, I do know. Probably does you no good. But it feels good. And I'm all about catharsis. Doing what you need to get that anvil off your chest of anger that every A's fan has on their chest right now with John Fisher. To at least get a few beers together. And again, in doing so, we will help support a local bar and bartenders and cocktail waiters and waitresses, and we will sell some food, and we will be doing the business, which is what so many restaurant folks need. We're going to be doing it over in the East Bay. So keep an eye out for all that. Double Damons coming to you. So there you go. What else we got here going on in the chat? Anything that we got to get here right now? Got some love from Red Jet saying, just going to give the Tribe Called Plus its flowers and cigars for being the best, most articulate, outspoken group on YouTube, period. That's you. That's this chat. You folks are no joke. And I'm honored to call you my audience. I really am. What a great group of people you are. Great group of people. That's why we want to hang out with you. That's why we want to get together. And we will be over in Oakland next time around. So there you go. Instead of getting into Club Plus today, you know what I always do is end the show kind of on the note that says sports don't build character, they reveal it. It's not my saying, by the way. That is a saying from John Wooden. But I've been ending shows with it for the better part of 20 years since coming out here to San Francisco. I was always inspired by Ralph's "Angels fly because they take themselves lightly." And I never always thought that was a weird way to end a sports show. But I love the phrase, sports don't build character, they reveal it. And I think there's so much truth to it. Because sports pushes you to uncomfortable places, and your real character comes out when you're uncomfortable. I talk an awful lot of character with my 4-year-old who is starting to, put concepts together. The 2-year-old's a little bit too young to have long discussions of character. But I keep on telling Jack how important character is. How it really is the defining trait of good men and women. Character, I don't just mean have a big personality, which Jack does, but I keep on saying not only are you a character, but character is what you do when no one's looking. Character is who you are when you're on your own. That's who character is. That's what character is. And I'm trying to teach these lessons. Again, these are big, big concepts for a 4-year-old, but there's never a wrong time to start how to teach a young man to become a man. I saw from an author named Mark Manson a quote that I want to share with you. And as I continue to find daily ways to explain to my children what character is and how important it is, I thought this was just a gem. Quote from Mark Manson, who has written some, self-help books and things like that. Competence is how good you are when there's something to gain. Character is how good you are when there's nothing to gain. People will reward you for your competence, but people will only love you for your character. I love that. I absolutely love that. Competence is how good you are when there's something to gain. Character is how good you are when there's nothing to gain. People will reward you for your competence, but people will only love you for your character. And Albert, you are right. Mark Manson is the author of a book called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. He is. He's like a 40-year-old guy who entered the self-help space. And I haven't read any of his books. I just saw that quote attributed to him, though, and I loved it. I might have to pick up a book now. Thank you for picking up this show. Thank you for hitting like and subscribe. Thank you for being in a chat that's got some real character to it. It means an awful lot to see so many good people come here to connect with each other in a world where we're losing the ability to connect with each other when it should be easier than ever. It feels almost harder than ever. So thank you for being a part of this. Thank you for connecting with me and allowing me in this goofy little show to connect you as well. If you're new here, thank you for showing up. Like and subscribe. It's great to have you. And as we normally do say, sports don't build character. They reveal it.